What happens when the god of a world loses an arm? What effects would this have on the surroundings, the residents, and on the goals the deity still seeks to achieve? Everhood is a 2021 video game that answers these questions excellently. For the narrative first half of the entire experience, the player is left without a vital game mechanic, and when that mechanic is reintroduced, the story and gameplay are both turned on their head in a truly surprising manner that few other games can replicate the slow burn emotional impact of. But we're not here to talk about Everhood, as great as that game is. We're presumably here to talk about Minecraft, a game that when played under the right self-imposed circumstances, also answers those very same questions. Throughout Minecraft's long and storied history, there have been a variety of difficult challenges to push players to their very limits. From ultra-hardcore to various speedrun categories, from the oversaturated landscape of 100 Days videos to the most impressive of accomplishments such as one block, Minecraft's fanbase has consistently found new heights of difficulty and reached those heights through great effort and genius strategies. If you are part of the Minecraft community, it is not unlikely that you have heard in the past of Challenger Andy's no left click, no armor, limited movement run. I saw this run 2 years ago, and back then it inspired me to try my own challenge run, a simple no left click challenge without villages. However, I didn't have the patience or the correct approach to even accomplish this, and so for a long time I gave up on challenges, returning to playing Minecraft only casually. That is, until now. What if no left click carried a different set of restrictions? One that turned a grueling ordeal of raw patience and frustration into a captivating but still brutally unforgiving new way of playing Minecraft itself. What if, instead of limiting ourselves, we limited the world around us, by removing any generated structure not essential to progression? Then, to limit the game's possibilities further, the challenge would be done on version 1.12.2 instead of the current version. That means no shipwrecks, no tridents, no piglins, no warped forests, and no large caverns filled with plentiful ore. And of course, this would all be done on hardcore. I call it Super No Left Click. Before recording, I did 6 previous attempts of the challenge, none of which ended well. Sadly, all of that footage is lost now, but it wouldn't have contributed much anyways to see me flailing around with utter inexperience for this new paradigm I found myself in. I took a short break and returned, resetting 2 unfortunate seeds before finally coming across my first good attempt. Alright. Oh, nice! 3 wood, that's excellent. I think that was all 3 of the wood blocks actually dropped, which is a pretty low chance of happening. Well, that would be nice. Or actually, I should just use the creeper to blow up these sheep and also get some stone. Okay, no stone, but I did get 3 mutton. That's really good. While I barely survived the first night, I emerged from it with food to eat, 2 string, a crafting table, and amazingly a furnace. All of the materials for these were obtained from creeper explosions, the most pivotal and necessary game mechanic of most no-left-click challenges. Although my placement of the 2 important blocks I had was less than ideal, it was a good start. It then began to rain, and I seized the opportunity by catching plenty of fish. However, in my greed for resources, I jumped from the safety of my tower and almost died to a nearby skeleton. Okay. Okay. we go. Oh! Oh, okay. Yeah, just go over here. I did not get the crafting table or the furnace, but thankfully, daytime is coming soon. That is a good thing. But after that, I decided to use a creeper blast to try to pick up my crafting table and furnace, which did not go well at all. Thankfully, my ample supply of fish was still available and plentiful. On the third day, I searched for a better base location and happened to cross a jungle. This seemed excellent, since I could get more logs from trees and obtain melons to eventually make health potions with. For the next few days, I set up everything I would need. I located some iron, built a chicken pen, and was fortunate enough to obtain a flame mending bow from fishing. This item would have been excellent for the run. But then tragedy struck. While collecting iron from a precarious ravine, I died. Already I started to lose hope, thinking that this challenge would be insurmountable, but the next attempt would end up being my most promising one yet. The spawn did not seem too great at first. The presence of savanna and desert meant that I was in a warm climate area, so the nearest taiga biome would not be close by. Taiga biomes are the ideal start to Super NLC, since they can spawn both wolves and sheep, and by pushing a wolf over to a group of sheep, one can obtain delicious raw mutton to make the first day a lot easier. After spending the day walking, I happened to reach a taiga biome and got lots of mutton as well as some wool for a bed. After surviving the first night nearly unscathed, I repeated the processes from earlier, finding a good base location, placing my crafting table and furnace, setting up a bed tower, and surveying the landscape. On the third day, I got 20 raw mutton from the absurd number of sheep that spawned after the previous ones perished. It seemed like, despite my previous statement, things finally were going well. I finally got a fishing rod, made another chicken pen, started on agriculture this time, and surveyed the landscape some more. During these travels, I found another jungle biome with a cave that had exposed iron, and ended up getting 2 pieces of iron ore from it, although I was unfortunately not recording at the time. However, getting a third piece of iron was rather annoying. I led a creeper over to a faraway cave with 2 iron blobs, 3 separate times, before finally getting the last iron ingot I needed to craft a bucket. Now, while buckets just seemed like a normal tool at first, they are another major aspect of playing Minecraft without left-clicking. You can use them not just to transport water or lava, but to farm more easily, to collect seeds, to fight mobs without the needs for arrows or flint and steel, and of course, to make a nether portal. Once I located a nearer cave with a much more convenient iron blob, I got my 4th iron ingot and made flint and steel. Then, once I had enough gunpowder to remove the dirt frame, my glorious nether portal was complete. Brave and ready for anything, I stepped in. And then I immediately left, because I heard a ghast and did not have any arrows left to fight it. Guess I wasn't very brave after all. Anyways, things were still looking up. After a minor setback, my chickens were doing well, my farm was growing, and I just needed some more arrows and maybe another iron ingot for a shield. Then I could find another fortress and finally obtain some great loot. But then, in the midst of my overconfident hubris, I made a terrible mistake that ended in tragedy. One night I decided to go out for some extra wood and dirt, despite the fact that I already had some, and those were not the materials I actually needed at the time. While running around wildly, I encountered a creeper which I tried to get dirt from. But at the last second, a zombie knocked me further into the creeper's blast radius, killing me instantly. This loss absolutely crushed me. Never before had I gotten so far into a run, and I thought it might never happen again. At this point, I almost gave up. I made it so unbelievably far, only to make a really awful decision, just go out for completely unnecessary resources, and that is what happened. Honestly, I don't know where I proceed from here. Do I just give up, or do I try to keep going? This really is just how quickly this can end. can all be over in a flash, can all be over in an instant. In the face of that, a lot seems hopeless, but it's always the people who don't give up who are successful. And so I start again. In the face of all this, I start again. Because in the face of the impossible, the person who says, no, this is not impossible, the person who perseveres, keeps going, and believes that the impossible can be done, is the person who succeeds. And well, this seed doesn't look too bad. Even though I had been pushed back, I used my last ounce of resolve to stay strong and keep going. With renewed willpower, I clicked that Create World button again, and set out to start this quest once more. Onto a brand new run it was, and it was a good thing that I did not give up. For this would end up being the run that carried me to victory against all odds. After giving myself the most inspirational speech of my entire life, I continued on as before, finding wolves and sheep, getting the basic resources, and setting up another base. Being near a mega taiga and extreme hills at the same time was very helpful, since I had both abundant coal deposits as well as plentiful logs to make charcoal. As we all know, coal is important for making torches and for cooking food, and having cooked food on hand is no trivial matter when an army of mobs is hunting you down. While my luck with fishing this time wasn't as great, as I still didn't have a mending fishing rod even after days and days of fishing, I did have more success with iron than last time. The nearby desert gave me access to several caves with iron, and I was able to make a bucket relatively quickly, but while I was in those caves, I had multiple brushes with death. At one point, I fell into the ravine below, another time I tried to enter a cave only to find an incredibly smart skeleton inside that actually avoided stepping into the sunlight, and one time I came closer to death than I ever thought possible. While leading a creeper to an iron deposit, a skeleton emerged from another branch of the cave and immediately struck me with an arrow. Then as I ran out of the cave, I got hit with 3 more arrows, and then a husk that was chasing me earlier returned to nearly exact revenge for all of its fallen zombie brethren. As I jumped out of the cavern, only 2 hearts left, the husk moved in from the side and got within inches of ending the run again. Just inches. That's all it can take to make the difference between life and death. After this terrifying encounter, I decided to both do some more fishing and start building a nether portal. If I wanted to stay alive, I would need to not only get more food, but also find loot from a fortress to make armor and potions. It took a while because of how far away the nearest lava lake was, but without much issue, I completed the portal and stepped inside. That's a fortress right there, that's insane. Where'd my sand go? I threw a stack of sand in here and now it's just gone. Oh well. These things just happen sometimes. There's a fortress right there, though. That's the first time that's ever happened to me. Like, I usually get so unlucky with fortresses, it's not even funny. But here we are, it's just a fortress. Just right there. I got a blaze rod and some nether wart, but unfortunately this entire fortress didn't seem to have a single loot chest anywhere. If I wanted more fortress loot, I would need to find more fortresses elsewhere. During this time, I also realized just how powerful and broken the lava bucket is. I could use it to fight mobs without using up precious arrows, I could use it to obtain leather more easily, and I could even kill endermen without the need for tediously using a water bucket again and again. I then began the search for more fortresses, but it went terribly wrong. I wandered very far away from my home portal, and despite trying to leave a trail of blocks behind me, I eventually got completely lost. After an entire hour of searching, even while using F3 to navigate back to the approximate area of the portal, all hope seemed gone. I was using up the last of my blocks to desperately make my way over to the right area, but just as I was about to reset the entire run I had worked for. I made it! I made it! I made it back! This is the greatest day of my entire life. There is no exaggeration here. Wow. Home sweet home, and I thought that I'd never see it. I thought I would not make it back here. I thought I was completely stranded. I was elated. This was truly the best day of my entire life. After the second nerve-wracking experience, I decided to just get some chores done. I needed to relax. Earlier, I had decided to set the chickens and cows free for a reason I cannot remember, and now that I had the power of the loft bucket, I needed to bring all of the cows and chickens back into the pen, a task that actually took quite a while. I then did some farming, gathered more blocks to replace the many I'd lost on my expedition, and of course went back to fishing. Still no mending rod after all this time. Once again prepared, I re-entered the Nether a few more times. These missions were much more successful, giving me diamonds and obsidian for an enchanting table as well as some iron and gold ingots. Knowing that I was approaching the necessary power to soon fight the dragon, I did some practice attempts to make sure I had a good strategy. Normally I would just use beds like everyone else does, but doing that seems rather cheap and anticlimactic for a challenge like this one. If I brought beds, it would only be to get out of the ground if the spawn platform generates under the island. From the practice I did, I remembered that enchanted iron armor with protection 3 or 4 is actually better than unenchanted diamond armor, so as it turned out I did not need to raid any more fortresses. So the final items I needed were enough Eyes of Ender, a full set of enchanted armor, and some more arrows. First, I searched for a gravel mountain biome to obtain more flint, because I already had plenty of sticks and feathers, and flint is usually a challenging resource to obtain since you would otherwise have to line up a creeper with any patches of gravel on mountains or along riversides. I found the biome pretty quickly, and after spending a few days there I had around 40 flint to make more arrows with. Returning to base, my next priority was finding and obtaining more lapis. I returned to an unusually large cave I had found earlier, and after finding a ravine at the right depth, I used TNT and a creeper to get enough lapis for all of my enchantment needs. In that same cave, some rather humorous events also took place. If I found diamonds in here, that would be hilarious. Yeah, I'm at the level for it. I'll probably find diamonds. Alright, let's see. Any diamonds around here? We got... What? What? Okay, this is... I didn't expect 2 diamond veins whatsoever. That's the last thing I was thinking of. Alright, here goes nothing. Blowing up diamonds, that's something we only do in a challenge like this. Where are my diamonds? Where are my diamonds? How could I blow up 7 diamond ore blocks and not get a single diamond? That's even more hilarious, honestly. Alright, second time's the charm. Wait, when you blow up diamond ore, do you not get diamonds? What a tragedy. What a tragedy indeed. Anyways, my next goal was to actually get the iron necessary for a full armor set, which seemed daunting because I only had 13 of the 24 iron necessary. However, another stroke of luck occurred when I decided to place some gold boots on my enchanting table just to see what I would end up with, and I happened to receive Feather Falling 4, the best enchantment for the dragon fight. With my iron requirement reduced to 20, I just had to get 7 more iron, which turned out to be not so difficult after all. Finally, I needed some Eyes of Ender. This took longer than I would like to admit. Killing Endermen with only a lava bucket is a little annoying. You have to wait until the Enderman takes damage from the lava exactly 9 times, then retract the lava at just the right moment, and then hope that the Enderman doesn't teleport too far away before dying from the remaining fire damage. After this, there is of course a 55% chance of actually getting a pearl. And since there aren't any villagers, and getting a zombie villager who happens to be a cleric is just a little bit unlikely, this was my only convenient option for obtaining Eyes of Ender. Meanwhile, I also needed to locate the stronghold itself, and began obtaining TNT to dig down to it. Worst case scenario, I would need about 30 to 40 TNT to get the job done. However, fortune smiled upon me once again. I had already walked a fair distance from spawn, placing me very close to the first stronghold ring, and thus making the nearest stronghold only half a day's walk away. When I finally got there, I realized something delightful. Yep, still this way. Probably shouldn't have thrown another eye, but oh well. You know, I could just get really lucky. There could also be like a cave nearby that would go to the fortress. It would be the most hilarious thing ever if this cave just went to the fortress. Oh. Okay, I guess we only needed 1 TNT. This could not have turned out any better. My hopes were not misplaced, as it only took a single TNT to open the way to the stronghold. I found the portal room pretty quickly and used another TNT to blow up the silverfish spawner. The portal was a 0-eye, but this was just fine. I was delighted to be so close to my goal at long last. Eventually, I was finally prepared. My armor was ready, I had blocks, beds if I needed them, TNT, an incredible bow, and everything else I would need. I walked back to the stronghold, returned to the portal room, and jumped into the end. Let the final battle begin. It's over! Only problem is this Enderman. It's been quite a journey indeed, and I don't regret a second of it. We did it. Minecraft, no left clicking, hardcore, only necessary structures, and 1.12. And with that, the challenge was done. Thanks to the most fortunate run possible, a challenge that would have taken me numerous months otherwise turned out to be over a lot sooner than I expected. To be honest, I'm not sure what to do next. Should I try a different challenge, or continue playing on this same world, while accomplishing goals like building a base, getting a beacon, and making a village? Let me know down in the comments, and thanks for watching the whole video. I hope you have a great day.